village hall is easy to find, especially in such a small village, as it is painted bright red. Coming from within, you can hear laughter and conversation. And it is just an open door. It's clearly a thing people just go in and out of. It's kind of like a big barn, really, but not used for keeping livestock. It is a place where people go for recreation.
On in.
And as you enter, a hush falls over the room for a moment. Conversation resumes, but in quiet murmurs, and you can hear someone mutter, "New outsiders are here." You see people sitting at various small tables. It's a bit of a mismatch of furniture. It's clearly things people have brought in rather than somebody built this specifically to house all of this stuff. There are various people sitting around drinking. You recognize some of it as aquavit, which is a strong liquor, playing cards, some people smoking and chatting. Everyone is still much quieter than you could hear from before you entered, but they are pointedly not staring at you.
I do apologize for interrupting your evening. Is there anyone of some sort of authority of the township that is here at the moment?
They look back and forth between each other, and one man pipes up, "Here? No."
And we'll just have to do. One of those other outsiders that had been staying here, well, he's dead.
You hear some murmuring in the crowd. It's confused, maybe a little surprised, but definitely not as shocked as you think it could have been.
So, as there's no one of authority, I'll go to my second point. Is there anyone here that has a strong stomach?
And the same man who answered you before says, "You want someone to move a body, is what you're saying."
You are quite intelligent, sir. The answer is indeed yes. It is somewhat undignified to leave anyone, don't you think, out there in the forest to just decompose and be gnawed upon by the wildlife?
We can move him, sir, but what do you want us to do? He's not from here. Would his family wish him to be buried in our graveyard, or are you taking him back with you?
Oh, one problem at a time. The first one is moving him from where he's been gnawed on by the local wildlife, yes?
All right. And he goes over and speaks to a couple more men. And all in all, you get a little group of about 5 who seem willing to try and undertake this. They're not entirely sure how many of them are actually required because 2 or 3 could lift the body, but they don't know what situation it's in, so they're just sending a couple extra. This little group walks over to you, and you are asked, "So where is the deceased?"
From the church, there's a young girl that's, there's a young girl that is part of your community. She likes to hunt.
Wilhelmina.
Right. There's an area that she is not allowed to go. That is correct, yes?
It's not exactly how I put it.
But you know upon where I am discussing, correct?
Well, I suppose you are referring to the entirety of the land owned by Marta Karlstrom. So that's a
Right.
bit of a wide area.
Right, it is, but clearly I have not been traveling that far from the village. So, from her border, from the church, about a kilometer, you can also follow the crows, because the crows are near the body.
They nod a little are not exactly annoyed, but you can tell they are reluctant to undertake this task. They're not at the point where they're just going to demand that you do it, but they are not best pleased. As you mention crows, you hear some muttering sort of begin again in certain areas of the room. And the group of volunteers will head out following your directions.
Very good. And Dixon will sort of sit upon the raised platform
Okay.
and study the room.
There are, at this point, about 4 sort of little groups that you can differentiate. The building isn't crowded. There's a group of 4 playing cards over in one corner. They seem to be actually not paying attention to you, but paying attention to their cards. There is a man and 2 women sitting at a small table drinking. They are talking quietly, and every once in a while you see them try and surreptitiously look over in your direction. There are 2 older men smoking off in one corner, talking, but you really can't hear anything of what they're saying, and they don't seem to be looking at you much. And there's some younger, not children, maybe like 17 or 18 youths. They're hanging out in an area by the door, not sitting, just standing and speaking amongst themselves.
I mean, we can visit the skit house and then go to sleep.
Is there anyone there that looks like they want to talk to me? Or are they all...
Want to talk to you? Not exactly. There are the 3 drinking that are looking at the 2 of you every once in a while, but they seem to sort of be. They might be a bit drunk. They probably think they're being much more subtle about it than they actually are. They don't seem to be trying to get your attention, but maybe more referring to you every once in a while amongst themselves.
There was some form of friction between the 2 larger landowners. It might be worth paying the little Miss Mother a visit.
Yeah, lead the way.
He will lead the way as best he can. I believe she gave us a rough idea of where she lived.
The Skit residence is a red 2-story house that sits right on the edge of the village, and behind it you can see the vast forest that Wilhelmina said her mother owns. The air is full of the scent of wood smoke, and you can see large drifts of it rise from the chimney.
And we'll head up to the front door and knock.
All right. A smiling red-haired woman answers the door. I wondered how long it would take for you to visit. Tea? Coffee? Cookies?
I would not say no to a cookie and coffee, ma'am.
Very good. You, sir?
I wouldn't mind tea.
And she turns around and waves you in, and she heads off to a small kitchen. And while her house is actually larger than Marta's house that you are staying in, she does not seem to have anyone employed here to cook or clean, and she busies herself about getting you some refreshments. She will return with those and gesture for you to sit at a table that she places the food and drinks on. And she will have a seat herself, and I will.
And he will sit down.
So, what brings you here?
Unfortunately, death.
Whose?
Hammerstrong. We were sent to look for the missing individual that had been here negotiating to buy land. The other one had gone quite mad. We have now located said missing Hammerstrom, and he is not exactly missing anymore, but he is certainly no longer alive.
Well, I am very sorry to hear that. More sorry than you know.
Well, it does complicate things quite considerably. That is quite certain. Certain for him. I'm sure he's not entirely in love with the current situation.
I suppose not. Well, that still does not really answer my question, unless, of course, you think I killed him. I suppose that could bring you here, but
Well, the entire situation is, as I said, now somewhat complicated. There is certainly motive for murder from different quarters of the townsfolk.
me, I can assure you, I am very disappointed to hear he is dead.
The standing was you were considering selling. It was something Mata was quite unhappy with.
Considering, no, I am quite decided upon it. The hold-up was not me. Gottfried Hammerstrom, he said that he wished to. Well, he couldn't get Marta to sell her sawmill, and he wanted to do that before completing a deal with me.
Sorry, we are not completely in the employ of the firm that was trying to buy your land. We were brought in specifically for finding the missing individual, and although he was interested in us negotiating said purchase of land, there are things that did not rub us the right way, ma'am.
In what way?
Well, if it had merely been a case of obtaining the land, I do not think he would have needed martyrs as well, as in not needing it to finalize the deal with you. I realize she has quite a substantial tract of land that is rather appealing to what it is that they are trying to do. However, even if she was in direct competition, she is not going to be in direct competition with the sheer scale of what the firm that was looking to purchase the land can do.
Are a few reasons why they wished to first secure the purchase of the sawmill. The first is, well, simple convenience. The sawmill is on the river. If they own the sawmill, they can cut wood there or send lumber downstream to their own sawmill without needing to cart it around. Otherwise, they would have to try and negotiate some sort of deal with Marta. If they bought my land, cut the trees down, they would still need her permission to use the river for transport. That would complicate things. There is the other issue, of course. If Marta does not sell, well, I suppose I would be the only one in the village who would.
But yet you still have a decent sized tract of land that would be worth selling.
Well, yes, but you see, my land doesn't have iron underneath it.
Which was my next point. Were you aware that they were saying that there was iron underneath the land?
Yes, I'm the one that told them about it.
Ah. Which then begs me to ask a different question. Is that true?
Yes.
And how did you come to find said iron?
I didn't find it, nor is it a secret in the village. I suppose there are some that do not know about its existence, but any of the older families would certainly know that it is there. I am simply the first to try and convince someone it makes the land worth more.
Has there been any kind of geological survey done to actually ascertain the amount of iron?
No.
So this is a somewhat of a negotiating tactic to try to get a better price for your land.
Price? No. I want to be able to sell my land. If they would buy mine without first buying Marta's, I would sell in a heartbeat and leave. I hardly care what price I get for it.
Well, see, therein may have lied the problem. If they did not know beforehand, they may well have been more amenable. Now, I don't know how far up the chain that information got. I would have to assume it did get back to the proprietor.
Yes.
Because they did put a little bit of pressure on, well, to put it honestly, destruction of the church.
They would need to dig up the iron, yes.
Right. Which did cause a bit of a point of contention.
I can imagine it would.
Quite possibly to the point that led to one man dying.
Oh. Well. It may have, but not in the way that you think. I believe.
And what way is it that I think?
The legend of the creature, I took your implication to be that it saw the possible sale of the land as a threat. I do not know if that could be the case, but I would wager it was something a little more direct.
As in?
I really couldn't say.
Oh, but I do not mean to be rude, but I do think you can. You have some surmise in your mind, of that I can see.
Perhaps I should rephrase. I really cannot say, well, I still live in this village. So, if you can find some way to negotiate the sale of the land, once I leave, I'll be thrilled to tell you all about it. But until then.
I miss insight check.
Okay, make me an observation check. She is cautious. She seems worried. She does not seem to you to be lying about anything she has said. What she has told you, you get the sense, is the complete and utter truth. When she says she cannot tell you more while she lives here, you get the sense that is not literal. There is not some curse that prevents her from speaking while she is here. It is fear. She is very afraid of something. A word of warning for your stay in the village. If you hear church bells at night, someone will die the next day. Church bells at midnight, to be precise.
That did appear to be part of the legend in regards to the.
Oh, that's not a legend.
And what is that relating upon then?
What do you mean?
We did see the legend. At least it was part of the legend that talked about the church bells.
Oh, I simply mean it is no mere legend. It is true.
We did find tracks of a rather large feline.
I do not think there is much that I can do to help you. The night that Hammerstrom disappeared, he had come to visit me. He said that he had probably found a solution to... Well, the only problem I was aware of was Marta refusing to sell. am honest, I had no real hopes of that happening. I was hoping he would change his mind, but... Well,
Marta was not the only problem.
I think you will find that what Marta will do, most of the village will do, if not all.
Is she the leader, or is she just...
Oh, I'm sure she'd like to think she is.
Used to be a lot of skeletons in this here village's closet.
This village is very old. A lot of time for skeletons to pile up.
While that's true, it is also rather small. It does seem to have somewhat of a exproportionate amount of skeletons in those closets compared to the overall population. Did you people have nothing better to do? Connive against one another? And now we have dead bodies.
I wouldn't say there has been much conniving.
Certainly friction.
Very little of that, to be honest.
Hmm.
I would say there are only really, well, 2 individuals in the village who take issue with each other.
And from what people have been saying, it's the two that they see as most important.
I am not important. I simply own a lot of land.
Which gives you a level of importance in their eyes.
Look, what I would like more than anything is to leave Barnstone with my daughter and go far away.
She seems a fine individual, your daughter. I would keep a bit of an eye on her, however, during these somewhat troubling times.
I would hope that I would not have to worry about her. Would hope. Well, if there is nothing else I can help you with, I know you've been to the church already. You've seen most of the village, I suppose, then. There's not much to it. The sawmill, some houses, the church, the village hall. It's really all there is. Was there anything else you wish to know?
No, I would like to thank you for your time and the cookies.
I would be careful. I don't know when, but be careful.
Right. Head back to the inn. Or the...
There is no inn. You can head back
That's
to
right,
Marta's
back to-
house.
Yeah, that's what I was meaning.
All right, and back at Marta's house, you are able to basically come and go as you please, although she probably would prefer you not going around at all hours of the night and waking people up, but that aside, you can really do what you like. If you want any food, she is more than happy to provide that for you as well.
How would you like to proceed, Father?
I have no idea. This is a complicated scenario. She wants to sell. Do we help her with selling? What do we do about the cat?
I must admit, even from the start, very little interest in the facilitating the sale of the land. The two, I believe, though, are connected to this cat. I yet don't know how, or fully why I think that. We are missing something from the puzzle.
Perhaps we should sleep on it.
It feels too easy if it was merely Havestrom was causing risk to the church, or at least I do not for a moment feel the cat would understand land grants and the like. Which ponders the question. Was it more just does it operate on feeling? That it could feel that the individual was lying or was willing to harm the church? Or, alternatively, is there some way that the beast could be controlled, or at least influenced? And was that the pages that was missing from the document? I'd very much like you to answer these questions for me. It would make my life easier if you were able to.
I am sure it would, but I am not experienced in summoning. I guess I was going to say demonic cats, but in a way it's a holy cat.
Certainly an interesting creature.
Or a church grim is like, I've been demoted to a cat.
A very
That's all I can
impressive
see
cat.
it as. It's an impressively big cat.
And what would people like to do?
Leap
If there
on
is nothing else, if there's nothing else that the father would like to do, he will retire.
Very good. And you fall asleep. You are able to sleep soundly for a while. However, at some point, and you're not entirely sure when it is that you are suddenly awoken from your sleep, but you realize that the sound that has woken you is a bell tolling. And if you count the number of times it rings, there are 12.
Yep.
You think you can maybe hear other sounds. It is difficult to make out. But then all is quiet.
He will prop himself up more and then retrieve his navy pistol.
Okay.
He will put it in the bed next to him and sleep more propped up. He does not feel that he is the target, despite the warning, as we do not have any threat against the church.
And you do not hear anything for the rest of the night. Whether that means you can sleep somewhat easily or you toss and turn the rest of the night in worry, I could not say, but nothing else happens that you are aware of. And morning comes.
And he will go downstairs.
Alvon would have got up a little bit earlier.
Alright, if you've gotten up earlier than you normally have, it seems that the other people living in the house are still asleep.
Dix will get up at his regular time before heading down.
Alright, you find Alvon, who seems to have already been up for some time, as well as Marta and the cook who lives there as well, who seem to just be sort of getting ready for the day as usual.
And he will go over and sit with the priest.
I suppose you also heard the bells?
I did. I guess the question now remains, who died?
Don't know how hard of a question that could be to answer.
Oh, surely the town is not that large. It cannot be that difficult if someone is missing.
Though I have a feeling it won't be too difficult to find them, as you said.
They are dead. They are already dead. So I would like to eat before we head out.
And breakfast is provided. There is coffee, there is eggs, bread, some fruit. Fairly simple, but there is plenty of food.
Shall eat while thinking.
And nothing prevents you from doing so.
When finished, he will then head outside. He will go to the church, but not inside. He will look to see if there is anything happening there. And if it not, he will then head to the town hall.
So, you approach the church, and as you do so, you notice two things. One, there is what looks to be a body. You think it is rather mangled, lying on the church steps. The door itself is slightly ajar, and something seems to be hanging from the iron ring that serves as a door pull.
I would like to look at it.
He steels himself and then walks over to examine the body.
All right, you're examining the body.
And I
I
assume you were examining the bell pull
Yep.
or the
Oh,
door.
there's no bell pull.
No,
There's
I
a
meant the. Yeah. That's what I meant.
So Alvon, approaching the open church door, well, slightly open, it almost takes a moment for you to comprehend what you are seeing because it is simply it does not go with the image of a church in your mind. There is a bloody severed hand still clinging to the iron ring that is a handle on this door. It has clearly been torn off of the arm, not neatly, but you assume there was some sort of desperation in whoever was clinging to the door as the hand itself still hangs there. And Dixon, you realize, although, again, the condition of the body means it is not an instant recognition. This is someone that you spoke to yesterday. In fact, it is exactly who you would expect to see at the church. This is Father Ingvar.
Yep.
I don't suppose the corpse is missing a hand.
He is indeed, sir.
Who is our unlucky friend?
The primary resident of this here establishment after the Lord himself. I am not surprised, I must say. However, what is odd is I cannot tell you why I am not surprised. It is not that I expected the priest to be at the church. I did expect him to be the one who was dead, but I cannot put any justification upon why I had that expectation.
Perhaps he was going to sell. He changed his mind.
But to who, sir? To who? We had intimated that we were not particularly so inclined to go ahead with any said sale, and he intimated to us that he had found the idea of destroying the church somewhat abhorrent. It is entirely possible, of course, that he was lying and he was considering a way to profit from it, but I did not get that impression. So if he was not going to be causing any particular danger or detriment to the church, why would the Grim wish to eliminate him?
I could not tell you.
And he will prop himself up on one of the gravestones. It does rather create a conundrum, however. The entire thing was based upon if this said creature, this Vaesen, was going around eliminating risks to the church. If this man was not a risk to the church and it chose to kill him, why? And if it did so, you see the problem. No one is safe. See, I would lean on our hostess to some degree. She has a great reason to not want those who were willing to sell to be able to sell. But if he was not going to sell, then his elimination is not working in her favor. But I do so feel that she has a great motive to see some chaos and destruction unravel itself in this here village. But I congratulate you, sir.
Why was I being congratulated?
Well, with the death here of the residing priest, who shall reside forever here now, at this very moment you are now the highest ranking member of the church in this area. You are now, at this moment, inheritance of this here building. Promotion. Through a dead man's cassock, I admit, but promotion just the same.
Emily, is that how it works?
No. The church would have to assign someone new here. It's not just
Okay.
nearest vaguely religious figure steps in.
its attack does appear to be a lot more vicious than the other one. I mean, both individuals are just as dead. That's not what's going without saying. However, this particular attack seems to be a lot more vicious.
I suppose should take a peek inside the church.
Okay. The door is open. You can enter the church with absolutely no issue. And it looks exactly as it did when you were there the day before.
I do an investigation too.
Wow, yes you can.
Nice.
You find near the body, it looks as though perhaps it has blown slightly away from it. You do believe that it was at least in the vicinity of Father Ingvar when he was killed, as you do find some blood splashed across it.
I suppose we found our next clue.
Dixon looks up from where he is examining the wounds. His time around the army medics and some of what he has done has made him strong-willed in this area, and he turns and looks back towards you. What is it that you have found?
We will hand him the note.
And he will take it. East of the third great stone to the north is the entrance. Deep in the bowels of Fanster rests its fell guardian. The path twists and turns, but at the place where the Lord's faith is based lies its resting place, like a light in the dark. So what do you suppose that means? That this is telling us the location of the Grim. However, is it saying that the cave system ends underneath the church, where the Lord's faith is based, lies its resting place?
I suppose we'll just have to find out. I would like to go east of the Greystone, north of the entrance, see if we can find something.
You don't know what that refers to. So you can look for stones, but you don't know of anything specifically that makes you think of.
I would like to look for suspicious stones.
There are a lot of stones, especially around the church. There are a lot of gravestones. There are a lot of stones that make up the wall. Nothing that really looks like something you would call a great stone.
If you were a greystone, most stones are gray. If you were a great stone, where would you be? And he's saying that to Dix.
Rather an existential question from you, Father.
Shouldn't he be the more existential of the two?
If this is to believe, the great stones are to the north, and if we found the third one, we head east. And they may be interested in learning the fate of their priest.
I suppose that's fair.
We can possibly fell 2 birds with 1 stone by asking about the great stones and also seeing someone take care of him.
All right, and where are you wanting to go find someone to ask?
I was thinking the town hall.
I am acceptable with that.
All right. You're going to be really popular. Every time you come in, you tell them someone's dead. It is morning still, so the village hall is mostly empty. You get the sense it's more a place that people come after work, and right now they are probably at work. There are a couple older village residents that possibly don't work as often anymore, who are sitting around. It's not quite time for drinking yet, but maybe people have brought cups of tea. It's a bit of a quieter atmosphere at this point in time.
Well, do your thing.
And he goes and props himself up onto the raised sort of stage area. I do so hate interrupting your breakfast at this time, but there is a question and an announcement. The question is, do you know of something that is referred to as the Great Stones?
The people that are there look at each other, and you can hear some sort of quiet, whispered conversation. And you're not sure if everyone's sort of waiting for someone else to say something to you, but eventually an older woman, she says, "No."
Took an awfully long time for so short an answer.
The answer is no.
And the announcement is that if any of you were possibly considering a new career choice in the priesthood, you may find that that is an amicable profession, as your current priest has been torn apart during the night. He is dead in front of his church.
There is a moment of silence, and everyone in this building sort of stares at you, and then they seem to ignore you completely, and a louder conversation breaks out amongst all of them. It seems to be largely focused on what to do about this, possibly because the priest is often the one who is dealing with things when someone is dead, and they're not entirely sure what one does. So they seem to be sort of scrambling for ideas. Eventually, one of them gets up and declares that he's going to go tell Marta. And a few of them sort of file out in the direction of the church. Who knows what they're going to do? But eventually, the hall sort of empties out. Everyone having rushed off to do something.
I'm sure that they have nothing to fear, Father. I mean, something that would do what it did to a man of the cloth surely would not do to these simple townsfolk.
You stand in an empty village hall.
Maybe we should ask Marta about the stones.
At this time, she could well be the best choice, I agree. I'm not entirely convinced they were telling the truth.
Are you heading to Marta's house?
Yes, I think so, unless the priest would like to do something different.
I was just saying that was my plan, so.
On your way there, you actually see her hurrying along in the direction of the church with the man who said that she was, or sorry, with the man who said he was going to go get her.
Well, then the priest will follow.
Okay. If you're following them all the way back to the church, they then stand there in a discussion about what to do. They are not really acknowledging you, as they seem sort of in a little bit of a confused mess at the moment.
Should we give them some time to sort this out, or?
Oh, I want to give them a short period of time, not too long, but
Then we shall give them a short period of time.
Alright, they continue trying to sort things out.
Hold on, we'll try to pull Martha aside. Or Marta.
She looks at you and says, please excuse me, I'm terribly sorry, but this is not a good time.
But it is a good time to break and enter.
Says the priest.
I don't suppose you would like to check out that locked room.
which room?
Marta's.
Right.
I have a feeling we are lacking the full truth, and I have a feeling there might be a clue in there.
Interesting. All right, Dix will do that.
You're going back to Marta's house?
Yep.
There are a lot of villagers there at the moment. It seems to have become a sort of hub of people. They are drinking tea in her dining room, trying to figure out what happens now. The cook is there serving things to people. It's a little bit of a crisis center at the moment.
They've beat us to it.
They're not all breaking into rooms.
Have an idea, sir. It just came to me. I was considering if people who would work around stones might know things, but then I thought, well, they tend to be rather narrow and heavily dull individuals, and what we're really looking for is someone who likes a story. And I think that someone who likes a story may be a little miss.
Well, I think I see what you're saying.
Someone who doesn't go to all those places that she's not meant to go.
I suppose we should find her now, shouldn't we?
I think that may be beneficial to what it is we're trying to do. The story is, so if she's not here, we're going to look around the church. They might not let her get right up to it with the idea of a dead person being there, but
You do not see her around the church.
the outskirts of town.
Don't see her.
They beat us to it.
Who did? Someone kidnapped?
Oh no, they keep beating us to it.
Well,
Do you think she's the Grim?
you've only looked 2 places. And none of them were her house.
See, I just came across a stroke of genius. What if we checked her house?
I like how you think, sir. To the house.
Okay, and it seems like people are up and about inside. The smoke is coming out of the chimney. So you take it that someone is home.
And knock upon the door.
And Dorothea opens it and says, well, it's a bit early for a visit, but come in. Would you like some breakfast?
I have eaten beforehand. It is not entirely a social call, ma'am.
I see. Well, come in anyway. We are just eating our breakfast. Would you at least like some tea or...
If you have tea, I will take a cup.
Very good. And she goes over to the table. Wilhelmina is sitting there eating breakfast, and Dorothea will pour some cups of tea.
Elron will drink his tea.
It's agreeable to see you again, miss.
To Wilhelmina?
Mm-hmm.
And to see you. I heard you came yesterday, but I wasn't here, so good thing you came back.
That is true. And it is in fact you that I did here come to see.
Why?
I have a question for you. Or rather, my esteemed colleague has a question for you on the idea of certain stones.
What kind?
Great stones. Is that a thing you know about?
Well, there are these 3 really big, and Dorothea cuts her off and says, why are you looking for, great stones?
Because that is the direction upon which the mystery lies. And you were correct. There was someone for whom the bells did toll.
I heard the bells.
The prediction was accurate.
It was not a prediction when the bells ring. Someone dies. I don't know who it was.
It was the priest.
But why would... I don't understand.
Neither do we. But we did find a clue. And it originates with those great stones.
And Wilhelmina is looking a bit confused, and she says, there are big stones, but I'm not supposed to go anywhere near them at all.
I do not believe that you have. I believe you have followed all of the instructions that you have been given, and that is not in any way our intent to intimate that we feel that you have done anything other than followed the instructions that your mother has given you. We do, however, realize that you are a wealth of knowledge of the area around, as you have such a great interest in it. And it is upon that we are asking you about what you know about those great stones.
Oh,
Not
no, I
upon.
went there. Uh, yes, it was very boring. No, nothing happened. And her mother says, "You please tell me you went during the day." And Philomena says, "Yes. Would it have been more interesting if I didn't?" And Dorothea sighs and looks down at her hands on the table and seems to be thinking. And somebody can make me a manipulation, inspiration, whichever you're feeling, if you want to learn some stuff.
7 die and not 1 success.
Oh,
What the hell?
So I'll push it. Why not? Worst I can do is fail.
you did not fail. She pauses and she looks up at you, and you get the sense that you don't know if she necessarily trusts you. She doesn't know you that well, but she doesn't distrust you, I suppose, or doesn't seem to dislike you. And she says, "You are looking into things, and now my daughter will be looking into things that I will tell you."
Let me put it another way then, ma'am. If you feel that that is inevitable, if we can put an end to this particular mystery, then her safety will be much higher than it is now.
A mystery, at least not to me. Well, I don't know why Ingvar would die. I do not know that you can guarantee our safety. I will tell you what I know if you. I will tell you what I know, and I can take you there. If you will promise two things. One, I will have to. I will have to pretend, I suppose, that I want to be there, and I need you to not say that I don't. And to. I don't know if we can sell the land, but Wilhelmina and I need to leave. If there is anything you can do to make that happen, then I will. I will tell you what is happening here.
That sounds agreeable.
Very good. This village is old. Very old. The church is very old, but the village is older. And before the church was built, well, people prayed to other things. Then the church was built, and, well, people started praying to that god too, but not exactly only. Well, that depends. I don't mean to disparage the departed Father Ingvar. He knew nothing about any of this. Only the oldest families in the village would. There is a group, I suppose. They called it the League of the Free. It was made up of people who felt that they should be free to worship and do as they saw fit. Now, some of the practices that they kept on are rather horrible. I I do not know all of them. I have heard of some of them. I am, of course, a member, being as how the Skits are one of the oldest families in the village. The other oldest family being the Karlstroms. Marta has declared herself the leader of this little organization. Now, it isn't easy to leave exactly. She doesn't want any of this getting out. None of them do. You can't just pack up and leave. I hoped that should the whole village agree to sell, well, what was she going to do? Track us all down and kill us? That seemed, well, inconvenient at the very least. We meet every month, usually the full moon or something like that. She carries out some rituals, chants, kills a chicken every once in a while. But she's been talking lately about something different, something bigger, something that has to happen once a generation. And I don't know what it is, but that is supposed to be happening tonight. So, I can take you there tonight. I can get you in, I suppose, but what you will do then, I don't know. Now, the Grim, well, that. Marta didn't create it. I don't know who did. That was when the church was built, but she seems to be able to tell it what to do. So, if Father Ingvar is dead, then Father Ingvar did something that Marta did not like.
Marta believed that he was willing to sell. He was not. At least, from the conversation that we had with him, he found the idea somewhat abhorrent, and I do believe that he meant that. But she was convinced that he was prepared to sell.
She would not believe something so foolish. If she told you so, she had her own reasons. I may dislike the woman, but she is not foolish. And Wilhelmina is just looking rather stunned, not particularly afraid of this revelation, more. She seems a bit put out that the village was apparently a lot more interesting than she knew and no one told her. But she is listening with rapt attention. So, what would you like to do?
I suppose put an end to it all.
Very well, you wish to join us at the ceremony tonight?
I suppose.
Not officially, of course. I simply have some extra robes, and if you hang back, well, I don't think they exactly take roll call. And Wilhelmina opens her mouth to speak, but Dorothea seems to know exactly what she is going to say before she does, and she says, "You are not coming." And Wilhelmina's just sort of looking very put out by this idea and looking at the two of you to see if you're going to. I don't know, you can't overrule her mother, but she's just looking around at everyone.
Your mother is right. What this is dangerous. Far more than the kind that you normally experience. You have many adventures.
If it's dangerous, then you should want more people.
Not when stealth is required. You will have a chance to shine, but it is not tonight.
This is the only interesting thing that's ever happened here, I hope you know.
I do.
Fine. Then I am going to. I don't know. And she storms off to her room. You assume it's her room. You don't know. It's a room. And Dorothea turns to look at the two of you and says, "There is no point in taking you anywhere till nightfall. It would just be suspicious. Where shall I meet you?"
Does the church work for you, ma'am?
Yes, that should do fine. I will make sure to bring some extra robes.
Do you have someone you trust to watch your daughter?
You needn't worry about her. I can make sure she stays. She will not be happy about it, but she will not break a promise to me.
A very headstrong young woman.
Yes, she is. I will go talk to her. I mean to leave as soon as this is concluded, however, that happens, she will have opportunities to see, well, many things outside of the village, so I'm sure she will forgive me this one time.
Very well.
Then I will see you tonight at the church.
What about Fansta?
That is this village.
Did I know that? I did know
Yes?
that. Okay, so okay.
That would add up.
It's all coming together.
All right.
Progress.
We've confirmed the name of the village we're in.